actually. Interesting story about the bed and dresser. It was sold off in an auction in the 1980s. And 20 or so years went by, and someone called up Mr. Elder, who is the current owner, and they said, you know that bed and dresser you guys sold years ago, it's down here at Christie's auction. So he went back and bought the bed and dresser back, which of course, you know, he paid a heck of a lot more to get it back than what he had sold it for to begin with. But he tracked down the people who had bought it, and he says, you know, what happened, because you guys said you were going to put this in your antique store, we assumed it was long gone. They says, you know what, they said, we never put it up in our store, we put it in storage. So for 20 plus years, the bed and the dresser sat in storage, and then it came back home. So no one slept in it, no one used it, so it's just kind of like, it's just meant to be.
Did they say why? They just didn't want it.
For some reason, they just put it in storage. So it was never used from the time it left the Hannah house until it came back home to the Hannah house. The transoms up above the doorways, those are to promote airflow throughout all of the rooms. And another interesting thing about the Hannah house is the closets. Mr. Hannah put closets in almost every room of this house, which is pretty unheard of for the time period because they used armoires back then. They didn't have closets. So he was pretty progressive when he built the house to put the closets in. We're going to go on out into the hallway. And then I'm going to let you guys breathe for a little bit. You need to notice how the windows here go down to the floor. And one mother, the family would have gone out and sat on the roof of the porch during nice weather. So go ahead and feel free to roam these rooms. I'm going to let you all go up and down. I personally will not go up there, but I will let you guys go up.
I'll go first.
Is there a reason you won't go up there?
It's the only place in the house I'm not comfortable up there at all.
Cool.
It is one of the really active hotspots in the house. The attic, grandma's room, and the basement. Those are the three active areas. Really active.
Let's go in the basement last time, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we opened up the basement. I don't think we opened up that So you guys are welcome.
You want to go up first with the
There
camera?
is, let me say, there is a stairway. When you get upstairs, there's a little stairway going up to access the roof. Do not get on it.
Sure do.
Okay?
Don't get on the stairway, it might collapse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Problem. I'm on it.
Guinea pig first.
Put a pool table up here. Hang out with the girls, play pool.
Yeah. Where's that stairway she was talking about?
Right there. The ladder.
Oh, the ladder. I was under a stairway.
Okay, we're going to head right in here. Have any of you been to the Hannah house before? You have?
We were down here for the meet and greet last year.
Oh, okay. I guess that's going to be here again this year.
Yeah.
Come on in. My name's Sharon. I'm manager of the Hannah house. What kind of information do y'all want to know? History, paranormal, both?
Well, whatever. We're not
Both?
picky.
Okay. Hannah house was built in 1858 by a man named Alexander Hannah. He was a relatively prominent man in the community, but most of his money he made in the gold rush. He came back to Indianapolis, and his father, Samuel, owned a good deal of land in this area, so he purchased some of his father's land and he built the house here. This was a working farm, so this was a farm home is poplar. Now, as we walk through that house, some of the windows are not going to have curtains, and that's because we're painting right now. We're trying to spruce it up a little bit. So, you know, we normally have curtains. It's just we may not have curtains up on all the windows right now. All of the woodwork throughout the house is poplar, and poplar is a green wood. It's not a very pretty wood. So more than likely, it was always painted. These hardwood floors are oak. They are original to the home. So these are the floors that Hannah put in when he built the house. This mantle that is behind me, however, is not original to the house. This mantle came to us from the Bates House Hotel, which used to sit where the Embassy Suites sits today in downtown Indianapolis. At the time Abraham Lincoln came through Indianapolis on his way to D.C. for his inaugural, he stayed at the Bates House Hotel. So this mantle was there when Lincoln stayed there. When they tore down the Bates House Hotel, the family acquired the mantle and brought it here, and we have had it ever since. It is a working fireplace, although we no longer use it. This room was considered the dining room. There is a pantry. In fact, let me slide back out here. Our doorknob's going. Oh, there it is over there. There's a pantry, and you can't really see it because we've got stuff sitting in front of it, but there's a little doorway in there that the servants would have passed the food through rather than walk through the drafty hallways to get it here into this room. Okay, we're going to move on into this next room. We don't have very much furniture in these two rooms because we do rent the house out for weddings, receptions, various types of parties. So that's one of the keys to this void of room so that people have the setup for catering and things like that. Okay, so this room was considered the living room. The living room is just where the family would have done their daily living. Madison Avenue out here at one time was a toll road. We have documentation that shows Mr. Hanna collected tolls from people who crossed his property on their way to Madison, Indiana, or just to another farm on down the road. So depending on what their load was, what they were carrying, he got to collect a toll from them. So even in the 1850s, they had toll roads. The front porch that's on the house now, you guys have seen that because that's where you started, is not original to the house. Originally, the front porch was just a little bit wider than the front door. It was just kind of like a stoop. And then in the early 1900s, it was expanded to the size that it is today. This picture up above the mantel, I saw a bunch of you taking her picture. We affectionately call her Hazel. We don't know that that is her real name. She came to us from a family member's home in Broad Ripple. We're not positive she is a family relative. We think she might be. It's an interesting sketching because anywhere you walk in this room, she looks like she's watching you. So, especially at Halloween, when we do our haunted house, we have great fun with it because the kids get all freaked out by it, you know. So I'm going to tell you guys what I tell the kids. I want you to walk around this room and keep your eye on Hazel, and Hazel will keep her eyes on you. And we're going to go over into the parlors. This way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And all of a sudden the tablecloth just went flying across the room. Flashlight went flying across the room. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting though because, you know, the paranormal group that was in had their cameras set up everywhere all through the house, but their monitoring equipment was there. So they didn't have a camera there. So it was, to me, it was kind of like it was saying, you silly goose, I'm right here. Yeah. You know, because they cameras everywhere, you know, and where the activity was where they didn't have a camera. So it was kind of interesting. These two rooms are the parlors. Now the parlors were used for entertaining only. Children were not even allowed in these rooms. You will notice how this window goes all the way down to the floor. If you go walk around the house before you leave, you'll see that there's a little porch area out here. So in nice weather like this, the family just would have raised that window and accessed the porch from inside the house. Mr. Hanna died in 1895, and he did not have any heirs. and a man named Roman Ayler bought the house in 1900. Mr. Ayler's descendants still own the home today, so it's been in the family since 1900. He was a prominent jeweler in downtown Indianapolis, so this clock and the clock that's in the next room, he used to advertise his storefront, in his storefront window for his business. Something that's kind of interesting about an old house, let me sneak in front of you here. You notice how the hardwood floors don't go all the way across?